Well, thank you everyone for staying with us here on Global Television. As always, we'd like to specially welcome you to Global Morning. It's Tuesday already, second working day of the week. We at Mofwegbe has so much to talk about on the program, no doubt about that. But doing that alone is never as much fun and never as interactive as doing it with someone else. And in this case, second time or second day in a row, Priscilla Obasi. It's your last day on the program for the week. Give me your word that we're going to make the most of it.
Oh, that's serious. Well, never say never.
Never say never.
Yeah.
That was a bit technical. That sort of response you get when the other person has already consulted with their lawyer, right? Where it's okay. Hopefully you won't plead the fifth.
Well, whatever that means.
Well, it's a clause in American Constitution, by the way, that allows you to not respond to a question, whether asked by a lawyer or any public official, just so you don't implicate yourself.
Okay.
And that's the idea. But that has been abused. People have been very dodgy on the basis of that. But it's the law, it's the Constitution.
I'm sure it has been drastically and overflowed in Nigeria.
well, if we had that kind of law in Nigeria, I'm very sure there would have been songs around it by now, trends.
Exactly,
and
trends
like
around it by now.
I've seen movies where somebody is being cross-examined, right? They are asked 6 questions in a row, like 6 straight questions, and they say, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. And there's nothing you can do, really. So you either rephrase the question, move to a different question altogether, or you simply let the courts or the judge know that, well, done with your questions.
So I'm wondering how laws are different, it's quite different across countries. I heard that a lawyer that studies in Nigeria cannot automatically go to work in another country.
Way, not on God's earth.
I can understand because of the fact that we have different laws that govern.
Right.
But then I'm thinking, there are generic, things across countries that you would say, okay, when you go to this country, you're able to apply it, and such what you said now is not something that that should be exclusively used in a particular country, because we have cases in Nigeria, for example, where someone is just wanting to provoke you. There are lawyers like that. They just go to the courtroom and instead of trying to get whatever they are trying to get, information and all, they are just there to annoy you. They are there to tamper with your emotions. They are there to make you cause an imbalance, right, in your emotions, so that you are out of control, of yourself, and then at that point, I feel like it's a strategy. So what you've just said now is something that can be very useful, like very useful in such scenarios, because I know some Nigerian lawyers can be petty.
Well, I think lawyers generally can be petty, but the part I like with these pleading the fifth and what have you is the fact that there are circumstances, specific certain circumstances where the judge can leverage their, I say they, because because the judge can be a male or female, can leverage their own discretion to insist that the person being cross-examined should answer the question. All right, so under such circumstance, the individual has no choice other than to answer the question. All right, but that said, you talked about some things that are generic across jurisdictions, whether in Nigeria, Europe, or the US, or wherever. Some of those things are human rights. And talking about lawyers being petty, yes, it's a human factor. But you see, that's why the law is there to guide. Otherwise, people would depend solely on emotions, whims and caprices, state of mind, the side of bed you woke up on, and things like that. But the law beats you to line, so to say, in such a way that there's an extent, there are boundaries you can't overstep. Otherwise, lawyers would even, maybe out of arrogance, sometimes maybe desperation or that zeal to want to win a case for their client, go overboard, and things like that. However, the thing is, the legal profession itself is regulated. In Nigeria, for example, I know you have the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA 2015. Okay. All right. Then every other year, you have what you call practice direction for lawyers for different courts. All right. So with all of those, if you like, instruments in place, it makes it much harder, not impossible, much harder for lawyers, whether you're on the defense side or on the prosecution side, to just take the laws into your hands and, grill, those who are being doxxed based on how you feel. No, it has to be a process that complies with best practice. In any case, that's why both sides have lawyers. And this morning, by the way, more like a coincidence, I was just reflecting on these issues. And I realized that there's a reason the court insists that even if Priscilla says she doesn't have a lawyer or she doesn't need a lawyer, to get one. And the court even says the government can get you one.
Interesting.
Just so that there can be fairness, even in criminal cases.
Does it really happen?
It does, of course. It does. In the case of Sowore, for example, he sacked all his lawyers. Right.
Sowore?
Yes. At the Federal High Court. He said he wanted to... No, I should say Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, yeah, my bad. Nnamdi Kanu. He did that. The court tried to make him changes, but of course, there's an extent to which the court can go under such circumstances. And the gentleman insisted that he wanted to represent himself. It happens. But the court wants to ensure that all of those options are exhausted. So you don't just wake up and say, especially...
is it because it's Nnamdi Kanu? Have we seen that happen? You know,
on that cases. Yes, even regular people. I'll give you an example.
People, really?
Yes, it does. In fact, it's a part of the judicial process.
Oh.
So you and I, for example, we have an issue. So I say you stole my laptop. I can't prove it. Of course, you have vehemently denied stealing my laptop. In fact, you have even said you have never come so close as touching my laptop. Then the case ends in court. And then the next thing you know is we go to court, you say, no, you're so confident you never committed this crime you're being accused of. Therefore, for reasons best known to you, you want to represent yourself. The court will categorically advise that you get a counsel or a lawyer, as we say. And then the court now reminds you that if you can't afford one, the court can provide you one.
So what if the court ends up providing you someone that is not capable?
Well, how do you know the person is not capable?
And you lose the case.
Such is life.
Who takes the blame?
Such is life. After all, you could have also brought your own lawyer that you have paid for standard fees and what have you, and you still lose the case. What do you do?
Well, I could actually still defend myself anyway.
Well, let's wait till we get to court, and hopefully we don't
get. This whole thing reminds me of a friend of mine, more like a neighbor of mine I used to have then, and this woman, I'm just thinking about the law practice and profession, and I remember a woman. She had gone to, she got married while in school, and so they're having children. She was still schooling. You know how it can be, very
quite
difficult.
Hectic.
Yeah, in the spirit of International Women's Week, I'm bringing up this. So in the spirit of that, she at some point she had her 3 children. She married quite early. I think she married 21 or so. So by the time she was done with the 3 kids, she was still a bit young, at least in her late 30s, and she decided, I want to go to law school. And then I look at this woman, I'm like, oh, you want to go to law school? Like, she had finished, her
bachelor's degree. Now she wants to move to law.
She wants to move to law. And I just look at her, I'm like, this woman that is like this, are you sure you can do this kind of thing? It's not just about saying, I want to dream, I want to become something.
Right.
I mean, you need to match your personality with your interests, right? And see that at the end of the day, the point you want to prove, you can indeed prove it.
Right.
Because I felt like she had, she was in that space where maybe she saw women trying to pursue careers, and then it makes her feel bad, it makes her feel bad.
Maybe less of herself even.
Less of herself, right? And she decides, oh, I want to do this too. And then she was quite busy with, little businesses here and there. Right. She used to make this local drink kunu then in the neighborhood, and everybody really liked it, right? And then at some point she started selling palm oil, right? People really patronized her, but she felt, no, this is not what I want.
I need something a bit more, fashionable.
I want to, I want that.
Want to be touche, as they say.
Exactly, I want to be touche. And then she goes on to law school. And the one used to be on the big side. The last time I saw her, she was looking so strong. I was like, what happened?
But is she a lawyer now? That's my interest.
Well, not yet.
Okay, she's still in the process.
I think she's done from law school and waiting for that.
And maybe call to bar or something.
Call to bar and all of that. But you could, if you look at her, you would see so much uncertainty. And I'm wondering, maybe she's there wondering, how it can be difficult in law school.
Right.
It's not easy for...
It squeezes even the best of us.
Exactly. It's not easy for someone that has not gone through that phase of motherhood, trying to...
And then the age shifts too is a factor.
Age shifts too is a factor, because I hear a lot of people graduate from law school with 3rd class and they are excited, they are happy. Yeah. You understand?
Half bread is better than water.
Because, so I want that. You could just see so much fear, in her face, and aside all of that, I know that she's a great person, but I just personally I felt you didn't have to. You really don't have to pursue this law career. I don't think something that matches with you, because she's this very quiet person. She's a peacemaker. You understand? You want to have an argument with someone else, and she says, no, just leave me alone. No, don't do this. And then to prove to the world that you are capable, you are not pursuing a path that totally contradicts your personality. You're already an adult. There's no hope of trying to revamp yourself or trying to metamorphose into something else. So why I'm saying this is I don't know why I'm saying this, but basically the spirit of International Women's Week, right? There are lots of women that feel this path is not for me, basically because other women, you see them as sophisticated, so you look down on whatever it's that you can do. Whatever abilities you have, you see that's not enough. You want to compete, but it might not be your space. You might thrive better with that entrepreneurial gifting you have.
Just have a plan of scaling.
Exactly, have a plan of scaling, have a plan of moving from one level to another, making it big. Have a plan of packaging your whole self, and you don't have to be juggling, because if those women come out to tell you what they've had to sacrifice over time, exactly, you might not be able to. It might totally destroy your own life. So I'm saying this to say we don't have to compete, right? Even as a woman, don't feel bad being a housewife. Right. The world is so pushed right now. The world is so, there's so much technology everywhere that you can do anything from anywhere. Right. If you decide to develop yourself. You don't have to pressure yourself. You don't have to, look at anyone, make anyone your yardstick or standard. Just look inwards and make the best.
Do what works for you.
Do what works for you. Make the best and the best of your ability. So this is for...
All right. I can tell you almost categorically that as it stands right now, we're planning an award dinner evening for Priscilla Obasi. Date, time, and venue will be announced. We're going to be awarding her as Africa's foremost storyteller. But it is not just about story. She has been able to use anecdotes real life instance for that matter, to make us understand that what you need is to understand who you are, what makes you peculiar, all right? You can bring class to anything that you do. You can bring class to even that your small scale business. So you don't have to be in the corporate world. I know of a lady, I listened to her in 2018 in Lagos. It was October 1st, right? She talked about how that she had worked in one of the frontline law firms in New York. All right, she's from my state. I'm proud to say that. But here's the part of the story that struck me. She said she was the only black lawyer in that firm. Everyone else was not just white, but Caucasian. I don't want to go into the details of what that means, really. But the fact is, she said, from time to time, her colleagues would ask her, how do you become this brilliant, this intelligent? You're not just a lawyer, you're not just a corporate lawyer. There's these fierce intellects that you bring to your job and things like that. Now, here's the gist. She resigns voluntarily from not just that firm, not just leaving law in a sense, but moving away from US to Nigeria to do crafts. Wow. That's where she finds her love. I see her videos on Facebook every now and then. I'm wondering, are you kidding me? Of course she's not kidding me. So what it means is she has found a space that makes her feel not just comfortable, but helps her fulfill purpose while she continues to make impacts within the civic space. All right. So just to add to what Priscilla said, that find yourself, everything else will fall in place. All right. Let's take a quick break as we remind you that on the show today we'll talk politics, look at the state of the nation, how are we doing economically, and to mention too that the price of fuel is shooting right through the roof already. If you don't know, ask those who have used public transport the last 24 hours. Let's take a break now. The rest of the program continues shortly. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
for the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, let's talk about something that's every Nigerian, I mean, every citizen of this country, top to bottom, end to end, can relate with, and that's the price of fuel. Time and again, we've talked about how that in this country, once the price of fuel sneezes, everybody and everything else catches cold,
Fast.
including essential commodities.
Quick,
right?
like it's so quick.
So what has been your experience?
Well, I found myself, arguing or talking to one of these taxi drivers yesterday. I just entered the cab, and the next moment he's telling me a place I normally take for a certain price. I'm like, that was so quick.
Right.
He was so quick. I had to talk to him. I said, it's still in the same country. We saw the price of fuel come down, and we didn't see it reflecting in people's transportation.
Right.
At least what we have right now, fuel used to sell at 1,000 plus, then 1,080 something, 1,100, 1,200 even in some fueling stations.
Right.
I think that's what has been reverted to. Right. So it was at 1,000 plus.
Right.
It came down to 800, 800 and something thereabout. Everybody kept quiet. We're just enjoying.
There was peace.
There was peace. Even in my area, there's bikes try to increase their fare. Even in that, after that reduction, we saw some bike just leave the price of whatever it is they were taking, and then we thought we're still hoping that the price of transportation will come down, because when we asked them, they'll say, I thought they've reduced fuel. They tell us, don't worry, it will take time to reflect. It's just a matter of time.
That's what you hear, the tiny voice that says just the play.
And you hear people say, with the old stock we have got to, we have not exhausted it yet. We still they use it for 2 months. I don't know how they store their fuel. Well, what they use it for? Because this is February, and we had 2 months, of that reduction. And then overnight, the price of fuel just goes up. Next morning, we are seeing it reflect in transportation. The next thing I've not tried to go to the market recently, but I know as the festive Salah approaches, it will definitely be an excuse, an opportunity to hike the prices of food commodities. So this is to say that now we did do ourselves. At the end of the day,
who suffers?
We are responsible for all these things.
Right.
We can go ahead and point to any precedents. We can go ahead and point at whatever leaders want to point at. But this thing that played out just yesterday is a reflection of the people. It is who we are. We are part of the problem. In other words, everybody has their parts. Everybody has their blame in this whole, issues wrong with the country. I understand. I know that life it's tough, but I mean we can be. And another thing I would say is the fact that we don't have regulatory bodies to checkmate these things is a problem.
Not just the ones that exist on papers.
Not the ones that exist on papers. I mean, we were talking here yesterday how some of these bodies, the ones in charge of regulatory
elite shops,
prices, go to elite shops to just show. I feel like that's just a show. I mean, why are you going to elite shops? But they go there to just show themselves.
Maybe they want to start big.
Make a video to put it in the newspaper to just show we are working. We are still here, in case people are doubting we exist. Because I feel like that's the reason for that. I mean, they do it, and after 6 months, you don't hear about them again.
Until when it's time to defend budgets.
When it's close to defend budget defense, you now see them act up again. I mean, when are we going to get there? So the citizens have the liberty to do whatever they want to do to other citizens. It's a case of anybody.
So you can hike your price, your fares, your charges arbitrarily.
I'm telling you, I was talking to the driver and he said, "Madam, go and buy your own cab too."
Exactly.
I mean, women now drive cars now. Why can't you put any price you want to put? It's not 200 naira. What is 200 naira? But you're collecting 200 naira from how many persons here? And another person will collect another one. Another person will collect. In the midst of all of this, your salary is not going any. It's not.
There's something we have not even acknowledged. Some of these guys use CNG.
Exactly. Now that's another interesting part. You use CNG. You have not. The price of gas has not gone up. And then you are telling us that
fuel is now 1,300.
Where is the sincerity? Why?
It's only wrong when it's politicians who have done it.
Exactly. That's the problem with Nigerians. It's wrong Only when the politicians have done it, when the citizens are doing it, it's okay for me to do it. I mean,
it can be justified.
After all, I'm suffering.
Right.
After all, I'm not, making ends meet. After all, things are hard. So I have the liberty.
I have 8 mouths to feed.
Exactly. And then whatever it is you're doing, you're using it to affect another Nigerian, another person that is going through what you are going through.
Or even worse.
So these are the issues. Like, it's sad. It's sad.
In the voice of Priscilla, these are the issues, and those issues we'll be discussing here in the course of our conversation this morning. So we begin to understand that where we are as a country, where we are heading or should be heading. We'll talk about those after this break. But let's now bring you some bit of motivation. Here is Heart to Hearts Inspirational with Ramsey Enoch Agbo.
Hello and welcome to another moment. There is a lecture from every lesson. Whatever happens to you, there is a lecture from every lesson. Whatever happens to you in life, there is something that you are meant to learn from it, either positively or negative thing that you need to take cognizance of and be watchful as you move on the journey of life. So I just want to tell you today that failure is a feedback and not a funeral. What kind of feedback did you get from that last failure? Have you even tried anything at all? Have you experienced failure before? If you've not experienced failure before, it means you need to try harder. Because on this journey of destiny, people who are successful today are people who have failed a number of times and they got up on their feet, learned from their mistake, and their mistake became a stepping stone for them. And of course, they are where they are today. Why? Because they never allow that failure to become a funeral to their dream. What am I emphasizing? As a matter of fact, let's normalize something today. All right, let's normalize something today. A failure, you've heard about it all the time. Okay, this person is a failure, that person is a failure. People assess their counterparts, their neighbors, their brothers, their colleagues differently with different perspectives. Some persons already have been tagged as failure, and that has been affecting a lot of people. But then, have you accepted that you are a failure? That somebody told you are a failure does not make you a failure until you accept that you are a failure. All right, not because it feels good, but because it is necessary. Sometimes, it's risk. It's risk. If you have taken a risk before, and of course, it didn't go well the way you think it was going to go, and you failed, it doesn't mean that is a funeral. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try it again. I was speaking with someone a few days ago, and we're talking about a particular business, and the young man told me, now I am successful. But then, during my wilderness experience, when I was in the workshop, nobody knew anything about me. When I was failing over and over and over again, I lost money several times. I had to stay indoors and think of the next thing to do. He failed severally until he said, no, I am not going to allow this failure become a funeral. My dream is not going to be cut short by this failure. And he stood on his ground. Consistency. I must always emphasize consistency anytime I come up to speak to anyone on Heart to Heart, because it is very important. If you want to succeed in life, then consistency and discipline is very important. But the bottom line is this: nobody ever succeeds without first stumbling. Yes. You stumble, then you stand again. Even every little child, before a child starts walking, you stand them up, you see them, they walk a little bit, they fall. They walk a little bit, they fall until their leg gets stabled on the ground. All right? And you see them walking firmly. Then before you know it, they start running. The same thing is applicable to life. So failure, as a matter of fact, is not proof that you can't. All right, it's not a proof that you can't do it. It's proof that you tried. It's a proof that you tried. When you fail, it means you tried and you failed. It doesn't mean that's the end. It reveals what doesn't work and refine what eventually would work later. That's what failure does. Anytime you fail, you know that, yes, this one does not work. Let me try the other one. It gives you a focus. It makes you know that, yes, if I go this way, I'm going to fail again. So I need to do something else. It's only a fool that do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. If you are doing one thing the same way all the time, you get the same result. You need to apply technicality, strategy, discipline, excellence every time. Whatever you do, let that touch of excellence be in your head, all right? So that when you fail in one thing, you try doing it the other way. But then don't allow that first, second, third, fourth failure be your funeral. Let your dream and your vision and your talent not be buried because you failed. Because that failure is trying to refine you, is trying to build something in you. What do you have to do? I want you to know that failure, what it does is that it reveals what doesn't work and refines what eventually will work. But you need to have this mentality. Every setback is information. If you are willing to learn, yes, that's what it means. Every setback that you've had in the past is an information. Because there is something you need to learn from every setback, from every failure. Everyone throwing stones at you right now is because they know you are going somewhere. Let me tell you the truth. We have a lot of friendly enemies these days. Some people are smiling with you, but then they are not interested in your success. What they say behind you, if you hear it, hey, but then that shouldn't deter you. That shouldn't deter you because you have a destination. So every setback is information if you are willing to learn, because most people don't fail because they are incapable. That you failed, it's not because you are incapable, but because you are going somewhere, because you are dogged, because you are rugged, because you are determined, because you are focused, because you have a dream, you have a vision, something you are pursuing and something you want to get. You have a target. So when people like that fail, they fail because they don't stop. But if you stop anytime soon, it means that failure has gotten to you. Let me give you an instance, an illustration. For instance, a GPS recalculates when you miss a turn. It doesn't shut down, all right? Failure, in other words, simply means it's time to adjust. Anytime you fail, the message is, no, I need to adjust. This principle, this procedure, this formula is not working. I need to adjust. There is something I need to do so that I don't fail again. That's what it means. Anytime you fail, there is a message. It is telling you it is time to adjust the procedure. It is time to re-strategize. That's what it means. All right, so you don't need to abandon your journey because you failed. There is a practical mindset shift that you need to have, and this is it. Number one, stop attaching shame to failure. Yes, stop attaching shame to failure. Some people, when they fail, they feel shy. Oh no, I'm not going to get on that stage again. They will laugh at me. No, I'm not going to do that business again. People will laugh at me. People will mock me. The same people will celebrate and want to identify with you if you are a success. So there should be a mindset and a mind shift for you. Extra lessons instead of self-criticism. Stop criticizing yourself because you failed. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people with other people because you failed. That you failed. Failure is not a funeral. Stop burying yourself in shame and criticism. Try again. Make it better. Make it wiser. Make it stronger. That's what it means. All right? Failure is tuition paid for future success. That is a quote that I'm bringing to you now. Failure, I said, is what? Is tuition paid for future success. But if you don't pay, if you go to school now, all right, 100 level, you need to pay a tuition. In 100 level, you get to 200, you pay another tuition before you can get to 300 level. In every of this level, there are tuitions to pay. If you want to change levels in life, don't be scared of failure. If you are scared of failure, you will never try anything good. So what you have to do? Keep pushing. Don't bury your dream because of one mistake that you made. I'll keep saying this. Learn, rise, and move forward. Don't worry about what people are saying. Don't worry about the situation around you. Don't think, oh, I have failed, I don't need to try it again. Keep trying. Change the strategy. Become wiser. Failure make you wiser. Because you walk through this way and you fail, you apply this strategy, this technique, this principle, this formula, and you failed. You will now need to re-strategize, use another formula, all right, until you get to your success. Until you get to what you want to achieve in life. All right. So you need to know that anytime you fail, it's a signal that you need to turn. You need to do something again. You need to re-strategize. You need to improvise, come up with something new. As a matter of fact, failure is not the best option for you. So what do you have to do? Try as much as possible. Right, to be sincere in everything that you do. Because if you want to please people, it will be disastrous. You don't need to please anyone, all right? You don't need to please anyone. It is when you're thinking about pleasing people that when you stumble, you say, oh, I've disappointed this person. I've disappointed even people who really love you, who want you to be successful. By the time you fail, instead of them condemning you, they will come and encourage you to do better. And that's the reason you need mentors. That's the reason you need people to talk to per time. All right? You need to talk to people. See, if you are embarking on a project, I emphasize mentorship all the time. I was speaking with a friend a few days ago and I told the person, if I want to do this thing you're doing now, it is going to be express for me. It's going to be easier. I may have hitches. There might be some times where you have losses or maybe failure at some point, but then you have people to ask questions. I have someone to ask questions. Hey, I got hooked here. What do I do? Even the disaster is not going to be as disastrous as it would have been if you never have anyone to guide you on this journey of destiny. You really need people, okay? Because as your association determine your acceleration in life, okay? And your friends, you need to be careful with the kind of friends you have. If you have a bad friend, it is disaster. If you have a good friend, it means you have a shoulder to lean on, a shoulder to stand on and be tall so that you can get to that success that you are running after, that you are pursuing. Yes, congratulations, everyone. You are a success going somewhere to happen. Don't allow anything stop you on the way. Not failure, not criticism. Don't bury yourself because you failed. Failure is not funeral. Bye-bye for now and have a beautiful day.
Thank you very much for still being here with us. Right now, we dive straight to the newspaper review segment, and we started with the Punch newspaper. First story, above the nameplate, IG visits Kwara, vows to flush out bandits. Details on page 14. US warns citizens of fresh terror threats in Nigeria. I think we saw all of that, trending on the internet yesterday. Details on page 42. Discourse pockets 2.3 trillion naira despite erratic power supply.
Is that what they call the irony of life?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about some of these jobs. It doesn't matter whether you deliver or not. Your salary. Details on page 27. Besides the nameplate, we have one. PDP crisis. Makinde block heads for Supreme Court after appeal court's loss. Okay, this is becoming really interesting. So first of all, there was a normal court sitting that gave victory to the Makinde faction. And then an appeal court gives victory to the Wike faction.
And says go back to the time when Elias Damagu was the Kedika committee chairman of the party. Of course, that leaves the Makinde faction at a very critical disadvantage.
And now there's a move to go to the Supreme Court. So I'm asking, who are the judges in all these cases? I don't know.
There was a PDP chieftain on our program yesterday. Ubongo Soro hosted him on Global on Big Talk. And one of the things the guy said was that the Makinde faction made a very huge mistake, all right, by going to court to challenge all of these in the first instance. That it was even out of ego and desperation that they had to go to a federal, a state high court, even though there had been a federal high court judgment. Yes, you can say they are courts of coordinated jurisdiction, as they say in law. But you see, they didn't take into cognizance some very crucial elements and all of that. But politicians will always be politicians. At this point in time, for the top members of this party, whether you talk about Wike, talk about people like Sheikh Makinde or Bala Mohammed, it's not so much, I mean, this is sad to say, it's not so much about getting PDP to winning ways or getting PDP to reinvent itself. It's now more about ego. It's now more about proving a point as to who is the talk and do person in this party, who is the most influential person in this party. But what they need to realize is that election is months away, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not. So at the end of the day, how does the PDP intend to go into 2027 polls? Wike, if you look at him, he's like the bull in a Chinese shop right now, in the manner of speaking. So it doesn't seem to have much to lose. Maybe nothing to lose, politically speaking, at least for the foreseeable future. But Makinde does have a lot to lose because as it stands right now, you are not in the APC, you're not in the ADC. Whether you have those plans or not is a different kettle of fish. Wike has made it clear and he's been very unequivocal about it that, look, I'm giving my support to President Bola Tinubu in 2027. He has never hidden it. He has also not said he's leaving the PDP. Wike is at a point, very dangerous point, dangerous to people who dare him if you ask me, right? Where he's ready to destroy the PDP if that's what the other faction wants, as long as Tinubu wins, APC wins. Right? But again, in the voice of Burna Boy, the monster you made.
Let's hear all of that plays out because I always believe that, I mean, anything can come out.
Right.
Yeah, anything can still play
So let's see what comes out. A lot of things have come out already.
But I mean, it's clear. Everything is clear right now to the blind. Okay, to the big story. Businesses brace for inflation surge as petrol hits 1,300 naira per liter.
Yeah.
It's so sad to read, but we have to read it.
Didn't you see that coming?
We saw it coming. Dangote defends fuel price hikes as NLC pushes back. Dangote has given us the impression that you guys don't worry, I've got this for us. You know, we are doing this locally right now. There's nothing to be scared of. And right now we are disappointed.
We are with you.
I am personally
We've got your back.
because this was so quick. I mean, so why did we celebrate the whole Dangote?
You know, I told the Motrace this morning, I said, I don't want to believe you can blame Dangote this time and I mean accuse him of monopoly because this is an economic reality. He didn't create it in the first instance. He didn't contribute to where we are today. In any case, Dangote is also challenged. It's not Uhuru for him, right? However, he's first a businessman before anything else. It may not sound nice, but we need to embrace that reality.
Well, I thought he refines his fuel.
Yes, he does.
I thought we have crude.
Yes, we do.
So it's not adding up for me.
So what were you expecting him to do? Leave it at the price that we had until 48 hours ago?
I wanted him to be a great Nigerian, a hero for us.
Okay.
You know?
Maybe you're saying you expected him to be a greater Nigerian. I don't know how much sense that makes within the context. But how much of a great Nigerian should you be beyond or more than or above taking the risk to go where no one had been before across the continent?
It makes you a hero.
Yes, it does. It does, right? I mean, to put up a 650,000 barrel per day refinery, first of its kind, something that has taken at least $20 billion, we understand, from him.
When the going was going.
A man who had seen so much of effort to repress, suppress, and even thread his refinery underfoot. You saw what Farouk Ahmed, the former chief executive officer of one of these agencies, NMDPRA, did to Dangote about how he demarketed Dangote back to back over a long stretch of time, talking about the amount of sulfur in the oil, in the crude, you know, talking about how that doesn't even meet the most minimum standards and all of that. I mean, it was crazy until things came to a head and eventually he resigned and left, even though they say it was the president that sacked him, but that's a story for another day. All right. We're saying that to say that people see the glory, all right, but they are not interested in what has created the story. But again, we must know that there's something called market forces. Market forces will either work against you or work for you. Yes, I understand that Nigerians, for the most part, also threw their weight behind him when he was undergoing that, if you like, persecution at that time. You know, but what should a man do at this point? Demand is high. Dangote may even need to hire more people at this point to be able to meet that demand. That cost element has to go somewhere, has to land somewhere. I think we need to get an expert here to talk about this in the course of this week to help us understand how is it that Dangote is also increasing price at this point in time. Because even the federal government is saying that, look, we have to rally around Dangote at this point, help him get crude, help him get international traders, you know, and of course the petrol station owners are also saying we need to give him as much support as we can and things like that. But you see, they're not doing this because they like Dangote. They realize that Dangote is the light in a dark room, right?
And this is the opportunity for him to show that indeed, I am a messiah. Because this time, tough times don't last. It will pass. And whatever he does with this season would speak for him when this is over. So he needs to tread with caution. I'm not saying don't increase the price of your fuel, but there's a way to do it. Like, you don't have to go, you know, overboard. You can. You don't have to make people scratch their skin to pay for it. Exactly. You can increase reasonably, but I mean there should be some level of empathy, sensitivity, because like I say, these times will pass, and whatever he does with this time would speak for him in the future. So you do what you do now, and tomorrow Nigerians or these people start to harass you. The NMDPRA and the likes of them comes for you. Nigerians will not support you because, I mean, you're not here for us when we needed you. It's how it goes around. As they say on social media these days, day for who, day for you. That is it. Or her for her. Egusi for egusi. All right, so I think I'd rather do tomato sauce for tomato sauce, right? Okay, so G7 weighs an emergency oil release to tame soaring crude oil prices. OPS economists flag imminent commodity price rise. And 2002 World Cup coach Onibinde dies at 88. So rest in peace. Onibinde, Details on page 45. Ayedatiwa loses bid to amend re-election eligibility suit. 14, page 14 is where you see that. Rivers Assembly defends rejection of Fubara's 4 nominees. Details on page 14. Students injured in stampede as Lagos school building collapses. I saw that on the internet yesterday. Page 4 and 6. Students injured. Funding gaps behind February salaries delay. Accountant General has a detail. Funding gaps. There's always a grammar for it. Page 38 is where you see this. This is 10 days into a new month. 10 days into a new month with the fuel scarcity or fuel increment. All right. Incidentally, there won't be much of a gap between the Punch newspaper and the next one, which is the Nigerian Tribune. All right. Top left corner first. It says on the Nigerian Tribune, IGP vows to take back communities held by bandits
in Kwara. Quite reassuring on page 8. Next one has a picture of Aliko Dangote. It says, Dangote, Adenuga, Tedola, Rabiu make 2026 Forbes Africa billionaire list. Details are with you on page 4. We understand that billionaires on the continent have added at least $20 billion to their net worth. That's quite a milestone. Appeal court throws out Aiyedatiwa's appeal on ineligibility for re-election. Okay, you should be focused more on these current mandates. Then we get to that point. I know politicians don't wait much, but we can find a way to put the people first in real terms, all right? Nigerians groan as petrol price rises. Riders say petrol sells between 1,200 and 1,300 naira in Lagos, Ogun, Ibadan, Delta, others amidst Dangote price review. Petron says PMS could rise to 2,000. I hope Priscilla is listening. AGO 3,000 per litre. While Nigeria is not insulated from global oil price volatility, despite Dangote refinery, others, CPPE is providing that explanation for us. Gunmen invade farm, kidnap Ondo Council secretary worker. Fire guards head of service building in Abuja, while Sinjak orders comprehensive probe. And then there's a bit of health here. Daily aspirin may do more harm than good for cancer prevention. That's according to a health study, which details you can read up on page 8. Appeal court nullifies Ibadan PDP convention. Zamfara governor joins APC. Wiki Hill's judgment says it's to embrace unity. We will appeal to the Supreme Court, Turaki-led PDP declares. Let this family quarrel end at the Court of Appeal, or Lawekbo Ashim, the man we understand has been doing what is today known as shuttle diplomacy between warring factions of the PDP. Stakeholders must come together to defend PDP's legacy. That's Chief Dan Obi is the one there talking. Those are your headlines from the Nigerian Tribune today. Do well to read up details. Next port of call is the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, so on the Guardian newspaper, we have first story, opposition states shrink to 5 as Zamfara governor joins APC. That is, we have 31 states.
So what's left for the PDP now? Basically, Bauchi and Oyo. Right. Then if you now say, okay, let's go to Abia, where you have a Labour Party governor, and then you go to Anambra, where you have an Abga governor. So you have only 4 governors. 4 governors. So we can now categorically say that if you remove Oshun, who has now moved from PDP to Accord. Accord, yeah. So that's 5 governors. So PDP has 31 governors in the bag, so to say.
PDP has 31.
I should say APC. Yes, PDP has just 2. Yes.
Abga has 1.
Labour
has 1.
Right.
Accord has 1.
Yes.
Well, I can see democracy working.
Accord appears to be the MVP of this whole thing, because no one thought at this point in time Accord was going to end up with a governor. Regardless of the circumstances that led to this sort of development, but it is what it is.
There's always hope. It's something to encourage you. Don't look down on your little beginnings.
Right. Keep going.
Keep going. Okay. CSO raises alarm over children, women malnutrition in IDP camps. With the weighty situations and matters in the country, just know that these people have been neglected, because even the average human being is suffering.
Right.
How much more the people that are supposed to be suffering? Can you imagine what
that life has beaten to that corner where, if you like, economic challenges are almost inevitable.
You can't just imagine the state of their condition, because everybody's merely trying to survive. It is well at the end of the day. Airfares may rise as aviation fuel hits 1,600 per litre. Details on page 5. Big story, all rally retreats as Nigerians await pump price review. Prices surged by 47% in Nigeria, stable in other African markets. Stakeholders cite loopholes in deregulation as subsidy worries resurface. Inflation concerns over rising fuel prices as Dangote assures of supply. Well, the good thing is that there's no scarcity in the midst of this. And I mean, if there was scarcity, it would have been worse.
Right.
So there's fuel, but it's expensive. Because during that season of scarcity, you will see the whole black market taking over the markets, and petrol station, filling station starts to supply to black marketers, so that they can make more. So at the end of the day, as the Bible says, in everything, you thank God. Petrol hits 1,285 in Abuja, 1,250 in Ibadan, 1,200 in Lagos. Okay, insecurity vehicle theft upsetting CAN users, despite U.S. commendation. Details on page 15, I beg your pardon. Troops confirmed repel Boko Haram ISWAP attack in Borno, Yobe. Details on page 30. PDP crisis deepens as Turaki heads to Supreme Court. ADC woos Makinde Mohammed. Okay, details on page 6. Finally, we have Tinubu, Obasanjo, others seek African trade at IATF 2027 signing. Details on page 5. Those are your headlines for the Guardian. Read up details by getting yourself a copy. Now we'll go to the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, which incidentally will be our last paper this morning because it's quite a loaded show. Says top above the name mast. Middle East crisis. FPI exits weekend naira to 1,425 to the dollar. Commanding officers, soldiers, dozens of terrorists killed in Borno military base. That story has its details on page 7. U.S. warns of threats to facilities, schools in Nigeria. On page 26, Dangote leads with $28.5 billion net worth as Africa's billionaires add $20 billion to fortunes. And Priscilla is wondering and saying, God, when? A big one here says Middle East war, that's your kicker. Hardship deepens with petrol selling at 1,300 naira per litre. The headline has got 4 riders for you. Dangote adjusts gantry prices of petrol, diesel to 1,175 naira, 1,620 naira per litre. Promises steady supply. Crude oil price hits $110 per barrel. Transporters raise fares by over 50%. PDP, Turaki heads to Supreme Court as appeal quashes Ibadan convention. Students, teachers escape death as 4-story building collapses in Lagos. You know, when you read that first part that says escape death, we're not so concerned about what has been lost.
I think the incident happened after school. That's probably why we didn't see casualty. So
so the timing was good, as weird as that sounds. All right. The last headline here on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper is still students, teachers escape death. Okay, I think that's the last already. So not much of headlines on the front page of the Vanguard today, but then do well to read up details and do the same for all the papers we've presented to you today, keeping in mind that Global Television as a broadcast media entity or the crew here on Global Morning does not in any way contribute to these headlines or there are details. All we do every other day of the week is bring you the headlines just as published by their respective publishers. We're taking a quick break now. Up next is Social Bars with Ogochukwu Mobuna. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
When social media speaks, we'll listen and we'll bring you the extra. It's your one-stop show for trends, truths, and the tea everyone's sipping. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get the extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global Television.
Nigerians and viewers around the world, it's time to look at buzzing issues making rounds on social media. And today we're looking at CCTV footage of from a robbery incident that occurred in Niger State on Friday, the March 6th. So we saw a robbery incident in Niger State on Friday, and you know this footage has been making rounds on social media. And then yes, we cannot just stay away from it. We have to talk about it because the victim of the robbery also came out on Sunday to testify that yes, he had over 9 million naira in his vehicle, and he thinks that you know, they actually traced him because they know that he has money, which he just, you know, withdrew from the bank. And yes, that was one of the reasons why, although he was so thankful to God for his life that was spared, because what he did there was really a risky one. Should I say risk or bravery? I don't know where to classify that, but let's just take a look at the video.
Yes. Please don't shoot the car here now. It's still a shoot. That one we were white. Still really the fire there.
All right, so that was a dramatic one indeed there, because you could see that we still had, according to some comments I saw earlier, they said, we didn't know that we still had commando in Nigeria, but that was a brave one indeed, because not everyone, can take that kind of risk, collecting a gun from a robber just to attack them back. I don't know what to say of that. But let's take some comments from social media, of course, as regards this topic. And the first comment is coming from Mary Venia. And Mary Venia says, Omo, that man is so brave and strong. I don't know if to say he wasn't wise enough to take that risk, but taking that risk helped him. Wasn't he afraid to die or something? Or he felt they weren't going to shoot? That's scary, a lot scary. Thank you so much, Mary Venia. And the next one is coming from Bobby Pink. And Bobby says, they picked their wrong target. Honestly, the man don't overcook himself. This one past braveness. This is audacity. Thank you, Bobby, for your contribution. The last but not the least, coming from Melhor Omezi. Omezi says, it took minutes and yet police didn't show up. Nigeria is far gone. Now, this is the comment I really love so much, because whether you like it or not, gunshots is something that is not a silent thing. It is loud, especially that particular kind of gun, the AK-47 kind of gun, is not the very. I know I've heard of sniper, and they say sniper is, it's not loud. It's very quiet. It just goes to the target and hits the target. But this one is a loud one. And of course, we also gathered reports that they have like the Civil Defense Corps is just few meters away from that particular restaurant where this man was robbed. So what exactly are we even saying about this? This happened for over 20 minutes, I guess, over 20 minutes, this whole incident, for over 20 minutes, and nobody, no security operatives came around, nothing happened around there. This is to let you know that your safety is in your hands. Well, I'm not alone this morning in the studio. I have with me Uyi Agbomofwe. Good morning, Uyi.
A very good morning to you, Ogachukwu. Well, so good to see you unarmed.
No, I'm not supposed to take that to the studio, but if you look for my trouble, you don't know if I have it in my locker.
That again, you can do if I have maybe 9 million in my account or inside my car. But you see, just to get right straight to it, I saw you do a sort of rundown of what happened and all of that. Of course, again, calling out the law enforcement and security agencies, which is quite sad, given the story unconfirmed, though, that we hear that the NSCDC has a post that is not far from that point. And again, given the length of time for which we are told that incident lasted, one would have thought that the police, NSCDC, or some sort of law enforcement intervention would have happened right in between. But apparently that had not been the case. So let's talk about the gentleman himself. I mean, he was a victim altogether. There's nothing we can do about the action he took. Adrenaline was pumping, obviously. He was instinctive, he was impulsive, he was all of that. So we can't change it. But we look over our shoulder now, we realize that that was a bit too risky under such circumstances. And some of us can't even wrap our heads around how he didn't shoot. I mean, they didn't shoot at him, or he didn't lose his life. He's still alive to tell the story and things like that. I think on the side of law enforcement, on the side of security agencies generally, we should watch a footage like this and ask ourselves, where exactly are we missing it? This was something that happened in broad daylight. I understand it was in the city. It's quite embarrassing, beyond the lives that could have been lost, the money that could have been stolen. It doesn't tell well for image. And this is also a piece of advice for people to not go taking this kind of risks after this time, because what he did was peculiar to his circumstance and the kind of person that he is. Some persons would have run away before they even got the chance to know who had come for them, who had come to attack them. But these assailants were armed. The man knew it. For me, I think the highlight is how he runs away from the vehicle and then he comes back to the vehicle that had at least 3-4 armed men. He drags one of them out, collects his gun from him, and he starts shooting at them without even running for his life. I mean, that was a commando-style moment that we saw there, something that you would associate with a Hollywood movie. But this was real life in Niger State, we understand, happening right in front of us in our lifetime. So we need to also understand that this was a peculiar moment. Nobody should do this under any circumstance for whatsoever reason, but we must work real hard to improve our security.
All right, thank you so much, Oye. Really, that's just it. We have to work real hard to improve our security, because we cannot have an operation last that long and nothing happened till now. Up until now, we've still not had any update about anybody being held, or any of these robbers being arrested or something like that. So we've not had any of those things. Anyways, thank you so much once again, Uyi, for your contribution to this topic. Well, I'm going to take a few seconds to wish my dad a happy birthday. Today is his 73rd birthday, and I said I was going to do this for him. So his name is Mr. Cyprian Ogwe. Happy birthday, Daddy, if you're watching this. Yes. Uyi, aren't you going to wish my dad a happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Ogachukwu dad. I should say, well, should I say Mr. Mobono? You mentioned the name
Cyprian Ogwe. Yeah,
Ogwe, yeah. Happy birthday to you. I don't know what age you're celebrating.
73.
73. Yes. I mean, come on. You have even gone above the benchmark or the threshold of the world. Yes. We are wishing you flourishing health, all right, prosperity, and of course, peace.
All right, thank you. This is where we draw the curtains for Social Buzz here on Global Morning. And if you're just joining us, do not worry. We have a lot on the table to tell. The discussion part, of course, will be brought to you by Priscilla and Uyi. And yes, I am Ogachukwu Mobuno. And once again, good morning, Nigeria and the rest of the world. Do stay with us as Global Morning continues. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we'll listen and we'll bring you the extra. It's your one-stop show for trends, and the tea everyone's sipping. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get the extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
trending issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global Television.
Hello and welcome. Temperatures are continuing to rise nationwide. From our ground observations, some of the highest readings are expected across the northeast, with Jalingo and Yola reaching around 42 degrees Celsius, making them among the hottest spots for today. Now, if we look at the heat index, it shows a growing likelihood of heat stress and thermal discomfort across many areas within the country. So it's important to take a few precautions. Wear light, breathable clothing, stay in a well-ventilated environment, drink lots of water, and try to limit outdoor activities during the hottest part of the afternoon. Moving to the forecast details, across the northern region, conditions will be mostly sunny, while the central state, however, we are already seeing signs of cloud development. As the day progresses, these clouds could trigger isolated thunderstorms, particularly over parts of Kwara, Niger, the Federal Capital Territory, some parts of Nasarawa and Benue. Further south, morning rainfall is possible over parts of Lagos, Ondo, and Ogun State. As we move later into the day, thunderstorms may extend along the coastal belt of the country, including Edo and Ondo states. And that's the latest weather outlook. Stay cool and have a pleasant day. Thank you for watching.
All right, first discussion starts right now. We'll be focusing on the socio-economic situation of Nigeria. At this point in time, I recall that in 2022, President Bola Tinubu had, as he then was the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, taking out time to lay out what his plan would be upon becoming president. Of course, he went on to claim the ticket of the APC, and then today the rest is history. The president has almost cycled out 3 years in the saddle, being his first time, and of course the APC hopes he gets a second, so he can continue this renewed hope agenda. Again, which is the, for want of better words, the special purpose vehicle through which the president and the All Progressives Congress are rolling out these initiatives. First off, it was on the very day of inauguration when the president announced the removal of fuel subsidy, which became controversial and became big talking points across platforms. Today, virtually 3 years down the line, there are those who believe strongly, on the one hand, that pronouncement, which many people say up until this point was never a policy framework, has really not yielded much of results. Instead, it has plunged the country and its citizens into poverty, especially when you look at the numbers being built out by multilateral entities like the World Bank and the IMF. On the contrary, you also have people within and far outside of the APC who say that, tough as that decision was, the president made a choice that ultimately serves the overall interest of the everyday Nigerians. So the challenge for almost 3 years down the line has been how to reconcile these two sides of the same coin. However, the argument is that until policies come to a point where their implementation is able to translate into basic essentials, food, water, transportation, good roads, good market, functional healthcare system, and everything else, including security, that make life meaningful for citizens, it is near impossible to say a government is quote-unquote doing well. To help us see one angle to this development today, we're joined by Barrister Chukwudi Anyanwu. He is Special Assistant Legal Affairs to the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals Development. He is also Deputy National Coordinator, Southeast Renewed Hope Agenda, also called SERA. However, for the purpose of this conversation, he will be speaking as public affairs analyst exactly in that capacity. So just to put it on record, that he's not here to speak on behalf of the government of the day. He's speaking as political affairs, public affairs analyst. This morning, I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Chukwudi, for coming on Global Morning.
Thank you,
You're welcome, sir.
It's good to be here.
Great. So my colleague Priscilla Obasi and I we're not grilling you, we're just going to engage you, right? Because we have seen, for example, President Tinubu tell ministers and other senior cabinet members that, look, you've got to create visibility for the work we're doing. Nigerians don't seem to know much about what we're doing. And for a business person, that is very crucial, because it's one thing for you to have an amazing product out there, but how many persons actually know of your product in the first instance, let alone how effective it is? This is more like asking you to be a judge in your own cause, which you lawyers are not very comfortable with, but we've got to put you in that spot right now. When you look at the Tinubu administration, almost 3 years down the line, what has been your assessment? Quite frankly, I know you are going to want to compare that with previous administrations, but what's your take?
It's been 3 years, but it's not the end of the administration, right? So I still think, even though like a lot of over 70% of the administration has been spent, it won't be right to give a scorecard, right? But I can speak to some of the things that the government has done, right? During your introduction, you spoke on the removal of fuel subsidy. We all know, and as Nigerians, we know that the removal of fuel subsidy was something that was clamored for by all political parties. Even before the elections and during the elections, all the major candidates said they were going to remove fuel subsidy.
Right.
Now, the question is, after the removal of the fuel subsidy, what has happened? I'll give you a few things that have happened. There has been more money. The government has more money to spend, right? And you would see that the implication is that there has been certain projects, for example, now fund that's been funded by the government. You also see that the state governments have more funds. Previously you see a situation where most of the states were owing salaries. Most of the states did not have anything, right? They were always borrowing. Today you see a lot of the state governors telling you that they're not even borrowing. For example, my state, Imo State, he runs the state based off of the revenue that the state gets. And you see substantially a lot of the funds actually goes into capital projects. So you see a lot of this, and this just doesn't apply to Imo State, it applies to several of the states. In addition, so yes, the removal of fuel subsidy brought some pains, right? But what a government like the present government is doing is asking itself, yes, there are some pains that comes, But what do the people need? The people need education. When we're in school, I'm sure when you were in school, there was also no access to anything like NELFund.
It was out of pocket.
Yes, I know people who struggled through school, you know, to be able to get an education, and NELFund has made that easy for them. You know, there are a couple of other projects. I don't know if we should go into the other projects.
By all means, yes.
Yeah. So there's more infrastructural projects. So you look at the project from Lagos to Calabar. You look at more rail projects are being put up by this present government. So even the CNG project, yes, government knows that fuel is more expensive, but then what can be an alternative?
Right.
A quicker alternative would be CNG. Subsequently, you can look into solar energy, but CNG is something that can easily be deployed because we have a lot of it. So you'd see that yes, there has been some pains, but those pains were necessary to get us out of where we were and take us to somewhere. Yes, it may be too early to start giving a score mark, right? But that score card is going to be given by Nigerians during the elections.
Oh, great. I think it's a good thing you brought about the election issue. Whether you like it or not, we understand, just before Priscilla jumps in now, that President Bola Tinubu really, I mean, he vehemently campaigned using the Renewed Hope agenda.
Yes.
At the point he said, it's not like Nigeria had been hopeless the whole time, but the hope can be renewed. We can improve on the hope, we can improve on expectations of citizens. As it stands today, we have seen people who have left the APC. And they are saying that this is not what they expected from President Tinubu. In fact, they say if they knew this is how the APC would run Nigeria, they wouldn't even have taken sides with the party nor thrown their weight behind the then candidates in the first instance. How do we reconcile that? These are senior members of the party.
Well, while you have seen people leave the party, I'm sure you've seen more people coming to the party. Just yesterday, the governor of Zamfara State joined our party.
Right, and with his deputy.
Yes, exactly. And of course, with almost the entire state structure, if not the entire structure of PDP in the state. Now, what does that tell you? Right? I mean, even in Jesus' cabinet, you know, the 12 disciples, there was a Judas. So definitely you would see people who, no matter how good you are, you know, you see how good your projects are, you see people who are not satisfied with it. But the question is, like Jesus, the analogy of Jesus, right? You see one or two people disappointing him, but you see the multitudes who are coming to him.
Right.
So a question we'll ask ourselves, these leaders you are talking about, pre-2023 elections, how many of such leaders were in the party? And how many have we gained? They are definitely seeing something that is bringing them into the party.
All right, I think Priscilla wants to jump right in.
Well, if we're going to judge the success of a government by how many people have joined the party, I don't think that's a good yardstick, to make our judgment on. Because, I mean, everybody can want to defect to a ruling party for personal benefits. 2027, I may feel, okay, with the ruling party, I have chances of winning. Especially with the electoral system we have in Nigeria. I'm not saying they are going to wriggle, but we know the history, right? And everybody is trying to secure a second term, trying to secure their political future. So judging economic success or success of an administration by numbers of people that have defected to a party, I don't think it's a good yardstick. But then you spoke about, my colleague started by talking, the fuel subsidy. I kind of feel this administration, or even Nigerian politicians generally just want to put up ambiguous words there just to confuse the common man. So they tell you, oh, we're going to use this for this, and they just use one grammar and just hide, so that nobody can come and ask. When you come out to ask, it looks like you are stupid. You don't understand English. You just want to run away and wait for things to unfold. So a lot of Nigerians have patiently waited to see how fuel subsidy, whatever money that will be gotten from this fuel subsidy will be used. They don't want to know the rigors around whatever people said. We just want to see that at the end of the day, we either have...
What's the outcome?
The outcome. But we have patiently waited, and up till now, I can tell you that personally, I haven't really seen. I expect that, okay, fuel subsidy will be removed and money channeled to maybe our oil sector, you know, our refineries. At least you take from
social services.
Social services. You see better health structures, you know, facilities and all of that benefits the commonest of man. The markets are working better. We have good transportation, the lists. You can you walk to your junction and you can see, at least you even get to pay for it, but you know that it's available, it's accessible. You are not going to be ripped by, you know, taxi drivers here and there. But we've not seen all of these things, and we say every candidate then said they were going to remove subsidy. The difference would have been, what did they want to remove? What were they going to get, or, you know, use it
and what,
to do?
What strategy were they going to deploy?
To use it effectively. But up till now, fuel has gone up because of the whole crisis and everything happening. And I tell you, the common man is still crying. I was speaking to my colleague earlier saying, if the common citizens, people that you would say, okay, we're trying, we're surviving, it's going through what they're going through now. How about those that have been in that are currently in IDP camps? How about those that are tagged as suffering Nigerians indeed? Because the normal man is suffering. So what happens to those people? So these things have not really, you know, reflected to the common man. They have not, of course I am a common man at this point, but I've not seen the benefits. So how do you explain to us? Okay. How is it practical? Because
so when I spoke to the people who are joining the party, I didn't speak to that in respect of the economic benefits. I was answering his question as to why the people who are leaving the party, and then I said that, okay, there are people who are also coming, in fact, more are coming into the party because they're saying the policies of the government. Now, to speak to the common man, right, I would ask, I mean, I know people personally who have benefited from NEL Fund, for example. This is one of the projects of the government. I know somebody, in fact, I have a friend, right, that went to a private university while he was in school. And he told me that while he was in the university, people thought that he was always, in fact, some of his classmates asked him, why are you always on punishment? It was a private university. Because they always saw him clearing glass in the school. And he was actually working for the school as a laborer while he was in school to be able to pay his school fees. Okay. Now, today, right, any student, any ordinary Nigerian has the access to go to school and focus on their education without having to work or worry about doing any form of business or anything to be able to cater for their education.
But you get to pay back.
It's a loan. You get to pay every loan. I mean, I believe it's a non-interest loan, right? Now,
are you saying it's a non-interest loan, or you?
We can't be sure of that. Unless we are saying, I'm not 100% unless we are saying maybe rock bottom interest or something.
Probably,
right?
I'm not 100% sure, right? So I wouldn't want to say something I'm not sure about. But at the end of the day, right, you get to pay back when you start earning. So that's easier for you as a person, as an ordinary Nigerian. Now, I think part of the challenge that we have as Nigerians is that sometimes, in pidgin parlance, some people will say, now they do ourselves, right? Now, you'll see certain vehicles that are already converted to CNG, and they still want to charge you the cost of running with a petrol vehicle. So, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that the government is doing. In terms of, I've mentioned education, that's something that is touching the common man. In fact, even the Ministry of Education have reviewed the curriculum. So, I mean, to get Nigeria to contemporary day curriculum, and that's affecting the common man. Infrastructure is affecting the common man, infrastructural development and all that. Now, but I think another challenge that we have as Nigerians is that we always look to the federal government. We have subnationals. They are getting more money today than they've always ever gotten. They are getting more funding from the removal of the fuel subsidy. People in a lot of the states, you know that you find out that a lot of these states don't owe salaries like they used to owe. In fact, minimum wage has been increased, right? And so yes, you may think that the minimum wage, looking at how you're looking at me, may not be enough. But a parent...
Has it even increased, really?
Yes, it has.
How many people are complying is the question.
Most of the states are complying. And then, like I was trying to say, we as Nigerians need to hold our local governments, our state governments, more to account, because at the end of the day, governance really happens at the grassroots. What the federal government has done is to make sure that the states have more resources, and Nigerians, at the end of the day, those resources get down to Nigeria. So when we want to hold government, yes, hold the federal government accountable by all means, but also hold your state governors accountable, because at the end of the day, that's where the major impact is happening.
So this whole thing about holding, the state governments and local governments accountable, to me, it's like we need leadership. We keep saying the problem of our country is leadership. Someone that will be able to put structures. Someone that will be able to, I can't be a child and then you put me with a house help, and then my house help maltreats me. And then you say, hold your house help accountable. Do you understand? As a father.
And that is coming from your father.
And that's my father keeps telling me, go and hold your house help accountable.
Yeah. She's being paid for the service.
She's being paid for the service. No, as a father, you will talk to the house help and ensure that she does what she needs to do, because you know that somehow I am weak, I am handicapped, I can't do so much. This person is my elder, whether I like it or not. She's more powerful than I am. So that is where leadership comes in. The federal government tries to run away from its responsibility of leadership. You're not saying give us the money that you have given us, go give us another money. Right. No, we're saying tell them to do exactly what they should do with that money. Instruct them, because the system is corrupt. Leadership is what we need. Strong, working, firm leadership at all levels.
Okay.
I don't like that narrative of hold these people accountable.
Just to add to what Priscilla is saying, so the federal government went to courts and secured what we would now call landmark order from the Supreme Court, saying that, look, local government autonomy must come to fruition and all that, even though that has not happened, at least in practical terms, as it stands right now. And we understand the president has, quote unquote, threatened to say, look, if the governors continue to have the local councils strapped to their respective apron strings, in the manner of speaking, it will have no other option than to, as it were, put a stop to allocations that are supposed to go down to the states. Again, that has not happened just yet. Yes, we are not ignorant of the fact that everybody has their work cut out for them, federal government, state government, local government, and what have you. How much, if you like, legal or statutory latitude does the federal government have to compel, in some sense, state governments in such a way that they can action this order? I mean, from the Supreme Court.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to take both of your questions together.
Great.
Now, I'm not saying the federal government should run away from their responsibility, right? They have their responsibility. And the analogy you gave us to the father and the house help does not apply. Because at the end of the day, the people are directly under the governors. So the governors are really like the fathers, actually. And the federal government can be like the grandfather.
Now, the grandfather is old now.
No, I mean the grandfather is older. Because why I will use that analogy is because Nigeria is not, I mean, we've passed military rule, right? Nigeria is currently a democracy. And there are different levels of government, right? And each level of government have the kind of responsibility, have their own responsibilities, and have extent of their powers. The federal governments can say, okay, do this, you're getting more funds. But at the end of the day, the federal government cannot force the state governments to do anything, what they ought to do, right? Because that is their responsibility. When you come to the local governments, right? Yes, that decision has been done and the federal government is trying to ensure it's implemented. However, you look at that the laws as it is currently, right? So, for example, when you look at the local government, the elections into the local government, the Constitution gives the power to the the state assemblies to make those laws, right? So you see certain states, for example, when it comes to local government administration, will say, oh, local government, 4 years tenure, because the states made that rule. You see certain states that the local government tenure is 2 years. You know, so the states assembly still has some form of constitutionally have some form of control over the local government. But I mean, it's for the judgments. I mean, the federal government is in the process of getting the judgments implemented, so that you'd see more of the local government, you know, performing. Some states, they're already performing very well. The local governments are performing very well.
And the allocations have bumped astronomically.
Yes.
And let's not forget that we have House of Rep members who are representing states, local governments. Do you understand? Are they still under the governors? Because when we talk of the House of Rep, those are legislators, and I feel like they're, of course, under the federal government. So are they not supposed to bring the cry of the people, at least to some extent? Doesn't the government, the federal government, has some power to ensure that they are able to go back to their constituency and implement progress and, you know, make the people's lives better? Let us leave local government chairman now. Let's talk about our legislators in the House of Assembly.
Okay, now,
House of Reps.
now when you speak to the legislators, just like we have different levels of government, we also have different arms of government. And really, those different arms of government are equal to each other. Right? So they,
in their respective tiers.
Yes. You know, the executive cannot tell the legislators what to do. Really. Right? It's just as they cannot tell the judiciary what to do. Now, what I expect, so personally, I'm a believer in citizenship advocacy, right? And I believe that Nigerians should hold, just like I said, hold your governors accountable, should hold their leaders more accountable. Now, what does this do? Now, most Nigerians, in fact, I was talking with some people, I think it was even yesterday, and the question I asked was, I asked one of the persons, do you know a House of Reps person? Because they were talking about, you know, some policies and all that. Do you know a Reps member? The person said, no, if I know the Rep member, what is it going to do? Now, people should know who their representatives are. You have something that you, like it happens in other climes, when the law is trying to be passed, you know, you see people are putting pressure on their legislators to say, oh, we don't want this law, you know, and if there's an overwhelming majority say we don't want this, and you end up doing it, you may not go back again if you want to go back. So
that's where the electoral process is robust and has earned public trust.
Because
how can an electoral process be robust and earn public trust if the people do not participate?
So at the end of the day,
and again, what happens if the people have now had poverty weaponized against them by the political class?
So if you have, by saying poverty weaponized against them, I'm assuming you're talking about probably bribery during the elections and all that.
And then issues around, access to education is limited for most people. Civic education, for example, is almost non-existent. Another big challenge. And then, of course, politicians have they have deep pockets, they have all the resources to manipulate and even strangulate the process.
So, when the people want change, right, the change is in the people, in the hands of the people. Yes, I'm not thinking about taking the responsibility out of the hands of the politicians, right? The politicians have a responsibility. But what I'm just saying is that the people need to hold your leaders more accountable for the legislative arm, right? Yes, they can drive some of those changes, right? But the only way they can drive those changes is by making laws, to ensure that those changes, but then the people need to demand it from their people.
We need to wake up some more.
Yes.
So the reason why we're in where we are as a country, where we're still where we are as a country, is because we don't have a people that have risen up. That's what we're saying.
So no.
And so until we have that, then we'll not have sensible leaders.
So what I'm saying is, right, is that there needs to be, the people need to demand more from their leadership, right? Now, the House of Reps people, you've spoken about the governors and all that. You may not have easy access to your governor, right? But this House of Reps people are from our villages. We know them. Do you understand?
On a level, they are locals.
They are locals. They are people that you know. By the time you ask, even if you don't know your House of Reps member today, you find out his name. I'm sure by the time you ask your parents, ask 1, 2, 3 persons, you will know the home of that person.
We'll not travel and go to his home.
If you really demand one change, you need to demand for it.
I agree with all of that. I honestly agree with synergizing with the people and the people raising their voice. But over time and again, we have seen people come out, protest, say enough is enough, all to no avail. We've seen Nigerians demand for change. The EndSARS protest was one. People are tired of protesting.
No, it's not just about protesting. By the time you
go, other way. I mean, protest is like the highest level of saying enough is enough.
But by the time
when you get to that point, you know that you have tried to speak calmly. You have tried to you understand, use every kind of means. At the time it gets to protest, you know that this is like this is the height of it. I can't take it again.
See, power belongs to the people.
Yeah.
And people need to understand that power belongs to them.
And protests have never worked.
Why will you say so?
Has it worked?
Why will you say so? The EndSARS protest that you mentioned led to the disbandment of SARS.
Disbandment?
Did it change the orientation, the thinking, and the disposition of the individuals? That's what Nigerians are really concerned about. But I want us to move a bit further. You mentioned in passing a while ago how the governors in their numbers have now moved from the PDP for the most part, even though we've seen some from, at least one from the NNPP, into your party, APC. And the APC is smiling to the bank in a sense, in that regard, because the more governors you have, the higher your chances of winning election. Governors are powerful. In the case of Nigeria, governors are referred to as emperors, for want of better words. These governors, almost all of them have told us that, look, they are leaving their respective parties, particularly the PDP, because of what they've seen President Tinubu doing. They want to be connected to the center, whatever that center means, we're yet to know. It is only Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State who defected just barely 24 hours ago, who has said that the idea is to move to a political platform. That's what he called it. He didn't say it's a party. So the governor is being technical with his words, I'm sure, without saying that he's moving from the PDP to the APC. He says he's moving to a political platform. So for Zamfara State Governor, he sees this more as a collaboration between himself and President Bola Tinubu. To that extent, my question is, how do we react to reports, unverified of course by Global Television, that these governors for the most part are being bullied using whatever methods into the APC?
So the question is, how do you bully a governor?
Politicians know their way around this.
You just called or said that some of them are being called emperors, right? How do you bully? And I'm still thinking, right? I'm still yet to fathom how you bully a governor into coming into your party. Somebody that some people say, oh, maybe they're using fear of EFCC.
Coercion.
Now, these people have immunity if they win the second time for the next 8 years, right? So how do you actually bully somebody into joining your political party?
You just mentioned one now, immunity.
I mean, they have the immunity.
So they shouldn't be afraid of the EFCC?
Yes, they shouldn't be afraid of EFCC. And again, if their hands are clean, really, why are you afraid of?
How many of their hands are clean is the question. Because we know in Nigeria, for you to become a politician, for you to be a successful politician, somehow you just have to dent your hands. That's the narrative.
No, I don't agree.
You don't agree.
I don't agree.
So people feel like it's impossible to correct. Part of the reasons why our politicians don't, correct the wrong things they see in the society is basically because they don't have the moral conscience. You don't have the moral conscience, so you can't speak against wrong. Almost every leader that leaves office, or anytime there's a change of government, a change of party, you see that afterwards, one person is being hunted for one position by the EFCC or this or that. It's almost a reoccurring incident in Nigeria. And I wonder, this guy was there for 4 years, nothing happened, and he's just leaving. All of a sudden, he's a thief, as if we did not know, right? And then there's one person that's strongly targeted. So it's more like, if you don't want to be chased after, keep quiet. If you don't want to be called out, I mean, anyone that must go for anyone that must go, how do they say it in law terms? He that comes for
equity must come with
clean hands.
Right.
Exactly. So nobody is a clean hand.
But the question is, do you have detergent to wash your hands?
So it's the situation. And I mean, we all know that, Tinubu is a wonderful politician. We cannot take it away from him, right? He's a force to be reckoned with politically, because we have seen him, we have seen, we saw where he came from. We see where he is right now. And we cannot take the fact that he's a strategist, a master strategist. Everybody wants to be part of that, story. We also know that in Nigeria, once you have your first term, automatically you're guaranteed a second term because you are the ruling party. All of these are factors why any politician would want to, decide to join the APC.
Okay, when you speak to leaving power and being chased after as a politician, you say the politician's hands are dirty and everything, right? I don't agree with you. Okay. Question I'll ask is, when you look at the percentage, look at from 1999 till today, look at the number of politicians that have come through different levels of government, from local government to the president, all right, since 1999 till today. What's the percentage of these people who have EFCC matters or who have been tried by the courts and convicted? The percentage is minimal. And the percentage is minimal because, it shows, it goes to contradict.
The question we should ask is, how many people have opposed them that have not been tracked?
Okay.
Because if you don't oppose, you are good.
No, there are a lot of them who have opposed and then they are walking around.
So if you don't oppose, you are a saint. The moment you try to do that, you are being targeted. You might not be targeted immediately, but somehow they wait for you until, they are able to find one or two and then they go for
you. But we always forget
that's the history.
We always forget that these people we call, sometimes people say, politicians, technocrats and all those. These people you call politicians, right? They came from somewhere. They've been businessmen, they've worked at different places, they are all technocrats. They came from among us. They did not drop them, would not import the politicians from somewhere, right? They are people who are among us. Tomorrow now you can run for House of Reps, and you will be termed the politician. Does it also mean that you're a bad person?
It depends if I have been a bad person before then.
Let's talk about, on a final note now, so let you off, Chikudi. Let's talk about opposition in Nigeria. Yeah. Of course, you are in the ruling party, so it is safe to say you are in the winning team, right? But we have seen accusations and counter-accusations when especially starting with the coalition, when it was being formed, today it has metamorphosed to become the ADC in particular, even though we know there are other parties in that, within that neighborhood of the opposition. There are people who have accused your party, the APC, of witch hunting, of, trying to, as it were, gag the opposition, particularly those political figures within the ADC. As a matter of fact, to that extent, was saying how that the persecution of people like former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, people like former AGF and Minister of Justice, Malami, their persecutions have now been called prosecution, as it were. Their prosecution being called persecution. And people say it's because these guys are formidable, these guys are going to pose a threat. I mean, when you look at where they're coming from, their caliber, their pedigree, their political weights, as it were. Who is afraid of the ADC?
I don't think anybody's afraid.
The goal is not to be subjugaed. We understand some of these issues have become matters of litigation now.
Yes.
Right.
So I don't think anybody's afraid of the ADC, right? First of all, even I'm going to tie to what we're just discussing. Now, when you say politicians are evil people, bad people, you know, whatever, right? You see that a lot of these people actually moved from APC or from PDP, and now they're saints in ADC.
Saints in ADC.
You know, now
Okay.
to answer your question
Yeah.
as to perceived persecution, right? Now, if the government was using bullying as a mechanism to get people into the party, right? Now, there will be nobody in ADC, there will be nobody in Labour, everybody will be in.
What if the case is such that they didn't take the offer that the PDP made still? I mean, the APC made still.
No, the point I'm making is that beyond those two names that you've mentioned, right, there are still more stronger heavyweights
within the ADC.
Within the ADC.
That's right.
Right. And so now the question is, why are they also not being, listen, the people who are being investigated.
Maybe their day has not come.
The people who are being investigated, are they saying their hands are clean? Right? Now, if their hands are clean, then they'll have their day in court. I don't want to, because a lot of those matters are currently
in front of the court.
To have their day in court.
Well, so the question now is, I think it's they're just a few.
There are even people who are within the APC who are also being tried in court
by anti-graft agencies.
Yes, so you wouldn't say it's one-sided.
I know of a member of the APC who has said on my show at least more than once that the APC is doing well. President Bola Tinubu, being the leader of the party, is providing forward-looking leadership and stuff like that. But he says there are also moles, there are fifth columnists, there are saboteurs within the party. At the point he even mentioned a name here, a serving minister in this government. You don't have to mention names, you don't have to be specific about individuals or entities. Do you have the sense as a lawyer, as a member of the party, one who also provides leadership on a certain level, that this could be the case within your party?
I mean, I will go back to Jesus Christ.
Okay, so
even in Jesus' cabinet, right? I mean, Judas was there. There was also Thomas, right, who didn't believe him.
Right.
So I believe that everywhere you have human beings, there will be definitely some one or two persons who would be a Judas.
Do you definitely believe that there are such elements within your party, without speculation and trying to be?
The party has thousands of members.
Right.
Tens of thousands.
But within the leadership ranks, do you think there are such elements?
I don't know.
Of course.
I don't have access.
You know, when we started the show this morning, Priscilla and I.
You want to give us a scorecard of the Renewed Hope movement and agenda? You want to score them 1 to 10?
Or maybe on a scale of 10, right?
I'll probably say 9.
9.
There's still room for.
Well, we are going to subject your assessment to the verdict of Nigerians, and I think the best place to do that is during the election, right? But I would like to say a big thank you to you for taking our time to join us this morning on the program, Chukudi, Public Affairs Analyst, just helping us to understand basically what this government is doing, some of them that Nigerians may either not be seeing at all, aware of at all, or appreciating enough. But 2027 apparently will be the ultimate decider in this regard. Again, we appreciate you for taking the time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right, great. We're taking a break now, everyone. When we return, we'll go to the appeal court. Yes, not because we have a matter there. I want to put in front of you what happened at the appeal court yesterday regarding the internal wrangling between two factions of what Nigerians would have thought is the leading opposition party, the PDP, at this point in time. But that apparently, and sadly so, hasn't been the case. We understand the party, the faction that is loyal to, Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, will be heading to the Supreme Court beyond these points. Incidentally, that is the faction where you have Turaki SAN as the interim chairman. It's getting more interesting by the day, but the PDP apparently is not in a good place.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build our nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious, and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
All right, to help us understand what's happening within the PDP, especially in light of the verdict of the appeal court from yesterday, we're joined via Zoom now from Abia State this morning by Peter Agumba, one who has been a commissioner and at different times transition chairman of a local government in Abia State. Peter, I would like to say a big thank you to you for taking out time to join us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's get right to it. Yesterday, I'm not.
Thank you for having me.
Day for the PDP, big day on whatever level, in whatever sense. Talk to our viewers how this particular verdict has redefined the dynamics within the PDP, especially at the leadership level.
Well, first, I must commend the judiciary for this very excellent intervention. And I want to say that it is now up to us, the child in our hands, the life, welfare, or death of the child in our hands is completely up to us. I believe that having slept over the judgment between yesterday and today, that patriotism and good conscience will prevail on our people, especially the people that we are negatively affected by the judgment, to come to terms with the reality. You know, this is what we have been, I personally, on different occasions, I have also hinted this, that if you run on a quicksand, chances of falling will always be there. If you build a strong structure without a good foundation, a catastrophe is bound to happen in the future. So I think that that is just what has happened. And then what we need to do as a family, like I've always called us, is to come to terms with the reality and then come together and see how we can move forward. The elections are very near, and we cannot continue with these problems. We need to come together and then forge ahead. Thank you. Hello?
The PDP must, as it were, cycle back to status quo in this sense, meaning when Damagun was caretaker committee chairman, what does FCT Minister Nyesom Wike?
I did not hear you very well, please, so that I don't go.
I'm not so sure you can hear me, Peter.
No, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, great. I was just saying that we understand one core aspect of this judgment is that the PDP, your party, must revert to a point where Damagun was, of course, the acting chairman, or if you like, interim chairman of your party. But my question is, Damagun, for a man who has been, well, referred to by many as a loyalist of Nyesom Wike, for example, being, again, coming into the saddle, what does that mean for the PDP? Because there are leaders in the party, including governors of Oyo and Bauchi states, who are politically speaking not friends of Mr. Wike.
Well, I think that even from what you have said, it is still a continuation of explanations, different interpretations that people are using, people are giving to this judgment. Sometimes people tend to give interpretations either on the basis of theoretical analysis or on the basis of bias or their own sentiment. But anyhow you look at it, the life of the Damagun-led ESCO ended in December 2025. And so we cannot fall back to a non-existent life. The only thing that is reasonable is the caretaker committee, since there was no convention. I think that they also made that mistake. They made that blunder when they saw that they hadn't held congresses in various states. They should have insisted, done the congresses, put those things right, and then gone ahead with the national convention. It was that fatal, that error that has dealt this fatal blow to the purported national convention of November 2025. So what I'm saying is that you cannot be talking about going back to Damagun's era, because Damagun's tenure had expired. And on inspiration of the tenure, there was no life again that was given to that leadership. Rather, a new appointment was made. The people that felt things were not right, they established a new appointment, a new leadership. While the other people, dependent on this charade that has now become in the wisdom of the judiciary, has been explained as something that was wrong, illegal. So I do not think that Damagun is in the picture right now, as it were. Thank you.
Most of these aggrieved members of the People's Democratic Party, all fingers would want to point towards Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, being that his loyalty is with the current leading party, which is the APC, and he has said that verbally on several occasions that his support is with, the APC. And you want to think why so much interest with the People's Democratic Party? For you as a person, what do you think about Nyesom Wike's role in all of this? Do you think he's on course? Do you think he's on track with all actions and inactions that has been displayed by him in all the saga?
What could Nyesom Wike